Hello and welcome back to the technochubby.com video blog. I'm the Joe.
And I'm Zelig.
And today we are working on our home server media center that we originally were going to set up with Windows Vista, and it didn't work out for us. So this time we're going to test out our big black box that you saw us build and put OS X on it to see if it will work out for us. It's back in the living room, and
Back where it belongs.
right. And so we're going to show you how to put OS X on it. We're going to use the TV here as our monitor. It's going to be running at 1920 by 1080. I also want to illustrate the fact that we are doing this as a test. If this does work out for us, we are going to order a Mac Pro and use that as our main system. We don't condone pirating software, but you know, sometimes if you're not ready to make a huge investment and you want to see if things work, you know, personally I'm okay with that. I don't know how legal that is, but we just wanted to point that out. So here it is, the hardware we are going to be using. As you can see, this is the armor case that we originally filmed for our home media center server. This is it all built. Just a quick tour. We got a 500 gig Seagate, 500, 1 terabyte down here. Everything's unplugged except for the boot drive, just so that we can get Leopard installed, and we'll add the other drives later. This is an XFX 8800 GT, a Asus Maximus Formula motherboard with the beautiful Asus fan, and then 8 gigabytes of RAM. And we will be using the gyration keyboard wireless and the gyration MCE remote, which controls the mouse via hand gestures and movement, and we've already tested it on my MacBook Pro and it works great. Alrighty, now on to the install. We are going to use Leo4All version 2, and if that doesn't work, we're going to go back to version 1. We know that version 1 works and works well. So we're going to let it boot. We've set everything up, and here we go. We are at the initial screen. You select English for the main language, and then click that little blue circle down there. When the welcome screen comes up, you will go to the utilities and select disk utility. Takes a minute for the disk utility to come up. It's accessing this information from the CD-ROM drive. It'll scan for your disks, and then you select the first volume or your boot volume that you want to boot to. Click on partition. Once that comes up, under volume scheme, you'll select one partition, give it a name. In this case, we will call it we lost our keyboard there for a minute. I just unplugged it, plugged it back in. We will call it boot. And one of the other things to check is under options. Leo4All does some kind of auto check, and it picks the best one. I like to double check and make sure that it's set to MBR. Master boot record allows you to dual boot into Windows, although we're not going to be doing that. But I've seen it have the most success going with an MBR partition type. Then once that's done, you click apply and then partition. This happens very quickly. And then once that's done, you get back to this screen and then you quit the disk utility by clicking on disk utility on the menu bar, and then click quit disk utility, and then click continue, and then agree, and then select the drive you just formatted, click continue, and then customize. At this point, this is where you make your selections. I am going to select the vanilla kernel 9.2.2, so I'll unselect the pre-selected kernel and then select the vanilla kernel, and then under third-party drivers, I know that the Azalea ADI 1988 works with this motherboard, so I will select that for audio drivers. Under chipset drivers, I know I have an ICH board. This particular board works with and without this. I select it just to be safe. Under network drivers, I have a Marvel chip, so I select the SKGE driver. I don't select anything in the graphic drivers because it'll come up. Quartz and Core Image won't be running, and I will do a video install afterwards, but at least it gets me to the point where I can see whether it installed or not and still be able to access the system. So with those settings, we should get a very solid install. And after that, you click install. Now it's going to want to check the DVD to make sure that the install's fine. It takes quite a while to do that, and I generally skip it because I burn at super low speeds. So I'm going to let it do the install, and then we'll be back once it's done. There we go. At this point, it's going to restart, and hopefully we will have OS X running on our system. At this point, while it's booting, you need to make sure that your Ethernet is not connected, because it may try to get on the internet and register you, and you don't want that. It's asking for keyboard type, and do what it says on the screen and go through. I am not transferring any information. You can, if you have another Mac, you can transfer your settings. I select, when it says how do you connect to the internet, at this point I select my computer does not connect to the internet. This is where you need to make sure that your Ethernet cables are disconnected before you get to this point, because if you are connected to the internet, it will just bypass this and say I know how to get there. So, at the registration information, you enter in anything. Click continue, it will create your account. At that point, if you were plugged into the internet, it will send the registration information and your serial number and all that to Apple, and then you don't want that. Select your time zone. Make sure your date and time are set right. And then click done.